Okay, good day everyone. This is Dia Setro, and you're welcome to Setro's vlog. As usual, I remain my humble self, Dia Setro, the most handsome, yakable, Africanicious, utterly pumping, epic power husband. And usually beside me, I have my most beautiful, scintillating, pepperoni, sugarlicious, hot baby girl.
Good day, everyone. You're highly welcome to the live stream today. It's a pleasure having you around. Thank you to everyone that has been part of helping us get here. Thank you so very much.
Okay, today we're going to be looking at something very, very interesting. It's going to be a two-way topic in the light of what is happening in Africa, especially as we are placing the light on Sudan, what is happening in Sudan. The conflict in Sudan is such a conflict that we need to answer so many questions with respect to the way it's playing out. And we hope that is not going to end up like what happened or what is still happening in Ukraine, because the war in Sudan is beginning to look more than what we might be thinking of, and we're beginning to ask ourselves this question: are there foreign elements behind this war in Sudan? And we also ask ourselves this question: are we sure we are not pushing the world? When I talk about the world, are we not pushing every part of the continent into a war zone so that our attention can be distracted from something that is about to happen? Okay, those are the kind of questions we're going to be asking ourselves, because in the process of looking at what is happening in Sudan carefully, you will discover that, or you might discover that, there are foreign power play that is trying to drag the African community into a war tí ò kàn wá, into a war that does not concern us. And as a result of this, who are we to blame? Or who are we to talk to? Because if actually the African people are using their right six number, the right sense to think, I think it's high time African stopped putting themselves in between unnecessary scuffles that does not concern them. But you know what we're talking about here, especially for a country like Sudan that is having access to a large number of gold that has also been traced to a particular part of the world. Baba. They always talk about Africans as being corrupt, but when you discover that you move out of the continent of Africa, you see the people that they call Tuale Baba, the original microscopic macro lending power plant for corruption. They call it systemic corruption. What we have in Africa is actually a very, very microscopic level of corruption. Micro, very micro, MI. It is so small, infinitesimally small, and usually misused, because whatever they are taking from Africa in form of corruption, they are actually investing it into the Babalaye one. The meaning of that is to the chieftaincy of corruption in the world. What am I talking about? We are talking about the people that always operate with systemic, well organized, well planned, well forecasted corruption. And that is usually what the end game will be. But don't let us talk too much. Let us look at what is happening in Sudan. Based on the fact that Sudan has some level of history of what has been happening in Sudan, to the extent that not until 2011 that South Sudan got its demarcation from the rest of the Sudan that is now called, or we can call them the Northern Sudan, but they are referred to as Sudan itself. Not until 2011, there has been this about 30 years of war between the people that are supposed to be of the same culture, the same value, and the likes. Wow. I think we have a little bit of power surge. A minute.
Okay. So, and not until that period, there been this internal war in Sudan until South Sudan separated from Sudan itself, and now such war has been on the low key. But not until this year right now that the two major leaders in Sudan now started their war, and lives are going because of this. And it's like these two elephants, they are not just minding what is happening, because they all have their supporters, the powers behind them that are really pushing them ahead, saying you are the right one and the likes.
Okay, sorry for that break in transmission, just some little technical fault. Now, based on what we're talking about here, the next thing you'll be envisaging is that what we are talking about, the war in Sudan, has finally graduated or is graduating towards something else that we might not be able to explain. But I have a video for you to go through. Listen to this video while we return to run the commentaries about which other aspects that we need to be very, very careful of, especially countries that do not want anyone to plunge them into another world war, whatever. Okay, just listen to this.
Sudan's de facto leader and his second in command is tearing apart the African nation. But is this just an internal unrest, or is it becoming another proxy conflict being fought on behalf of larger interests?
We do have deep concern about the engagement of the Prigozhin group, the Wagner group, in Sudan.
Частной военной компании под названием «Вагнер». Это его право, об этом министр иностранных дел Мали.
Will Sudan become the next Ukraine? I'm Shivan Janna. Welcome to Game Plan. Let's get to the point. The current battle in Sudan is between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary. General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan heads Sudan's army and is also Sudan's de facto leader since taking over the country in 2021. On the other side, we have Mohammed Dagalo, who was al-Burhan's deputy and who helped him carry out the coup in Sudan in 2021, becoming Sudan's second in command. Dagalo heads Sudan's paramilitary, known as the Rapid Support Forces or the RSF. Now, the two military forces have clashed over a disagreement of merging the RSF with the Sudan army. But is it just that simple? Or are there other interests involved?
The United States remains a steadfast partner of the Sudanese people in their pursuit of a civilian-led government.
US has long been batting for a civilian to bring peace, but it's never that simple when it comes to America. In 2019, Abdullah Hamdok became Sudan's prime minister. He had full US support, thereby giving US an upper hand in Sudan. Russia decided to increase its footsteps in Sudan and signed a 25-year agreement to establish a naval base in the African nation, allowing Russia to simultaneously keep up to 4 Navy ships, including nuclear-powered ones, in Port Sudan. In exchange, Russia offered to provide Sudan with weapons and military equipment. The agreement, of course, angered US and did not materialize. In October 2021, Sudan's military, with al-Burhan and Dagalo at the forefront, came together and carried out a coup and overthrew US-backed Hamdok and took over Sudan. In September 2022, John Godfrey, US ambassador to Sudan, warned Sudan of consequences if it went ahead with the Russian military base at Port Sudan. In December the same year, a political framework agreement was signed in Sudan for restoring a civilian-led government in Sudan, exactly what US had been batting for all this while, which would have perhaps brought back US-backed Abdullah Hamdok to the fore, giving US an upper hand once again in Sudan. And then in March of 2023, the deal was nearly finalized for a civilian government in Sudan when the violence broke out between the two military leaders in April 2023. The contention was over the agreement terms, which would have dissolved the RSF into the Sudan army. You see, Sudan has lucrative mineral resource exports, especially gold. Sudan also provides access to the Red Sea, which is linked to the Mediterranean Sea through the Suez Canal on one side and connects to the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean on the other side. This is a busy route for international maritime trade, which world powers are keen on. As per the International Trade Administration, 80% of Sudan's gold is smuggled abroad, and reports suggest that amid heavy sanctions, Russia is using Sudan's gold to fund its war in Ukraine. Then throw in China into the mix as well, which has already established a military base in nearby Djibouti. With China and Russia gaining closeness, US will definitely not back off either. So all in all, it is another case of US and Russia scrambling for a larger footprint, and Sudan is just another battleground. Doesn't it all smell like Ukraine? What is your view? Let me know in the comments.
Wow. This is what I call trouble in from six. Because Africans and Africa, the people that are ruling the continent of Africa, that has been broken into fragments, which is supposed to be a United States of Africa, they need to invite a brain surgeon that will help them recalibrate their memory, that will help them think and talk to themselves. Because what we are talking about here is just like another Berlin conference with a different style. It seems to me that the continent of Africa is now a piece of cake that every foreign power just think they can just manipulate at any time, fight over it, share, and regardless of what is happening to the people of Africa, they are not bothered. All they kept on hammering is what? Self-interest. Self-interest. But let me complete that statement. Self-interest is equal to the full meaning of self-interest in this particular case, where Africans and the continent of Africa are reduced to debris. So far they can have access to resources that are in our land is what I call selfish interest, not just self. But the people that are governing the numerous countries in Africa needs to yara on the brain. The meaning of that is they need to borrow themselves some level of cognitive reasoning, ability to put one on one together and say, wow, we smell a rat here. Why will with two generals from the same country be fighting against themselves to the benefit of their enemy? Very simple. Divide and rule. That has always been the portion of the Africans since they have usually let themselves down in the area of building their trust amidst their fellow brothers and sisters. Now look at it. What US is trying to do to what's it called? What US is trying to do to the Russia in Ukraine is what Ukraine is what Russia is now trying to do to what? To one of the countries that the US is forming ally to, which happens to be Sudan. Simply put, the reason for this war is not just ordinary. There are some international backings there because they need to flex their muscle. And where is the battleground? The battleground is supposed to be in between these two countries that are into this war.
Yes.
But they have decided that since you are so stupid and you do not reason very well, they can chip in some little amount into your end. You allow them to have your own country as the battleground. And one other thing I discovered is that when all this was happening, all this has been happening for weeks now, culminating into months, but it's like there is less talk about it across the globe.
The Ukraine war, you'll be hearing the update. So there are Africans, if they like, let them kill themselves. That was the genocide in is it not Rwanda too? While Rwandans were
Were
Rwandese were killing
killing
themselves.
themselves.
The world were just going on as the world was going on its own, as if nothing was happening until that faithful African Paul Kagame came to the rescue, and he is taking control of everything now, and that's it. So it's like the lives of Africans are viewed as less to nothing or next to nothing. Maybe they are black monkeys. If they want to die, they should just die. They should kill themselves. But when you talk of the war in Ukraine, you'll be hearing it here and there, this. But right now, the war in Sudan is not, it's not so much noise on the media as that of Ukraine. And I don't know why African leaders can't just reason for once. Are these people the greatest? While these Western countries are advancing, is because of the value they place on their citizens. The greatest asset in life, it's not your mineral resources or your resources. The greatest assets in life are your human resources. You don't know what lies in those people you're allowing to die like a piece of bread. You don't know the opportunities that are embedded in those souls you're just wasting. So it's high time African leaders began to think and see humans. The strength of a king is in the number of people he has, not just the resources. And that's why in the olden days, Africans, the families in Africa are really judged by the numbers of children they have, how they are many, and all the likes. But it's like we are living our own culture, we are embracing another culture. All these resources that we're running after, they are going to be depleted one time or the other. They are going to, but humans are the ones that look at what is happening in UAE. It's human beings that are bringing such inventions. They are thinking, how can we? I saw the other time whereby they are now farming in the desert now. They are farming. So they have visionary leaders and leaders that they are bringing humans from everywhere in the world. If you are the best, you can do this. You are best in agriculture, best in medicine, best in whatever. They are going to bring you, pay you this, that, and they will develop their own country. But we are there. We have these humans that God has given to us as natural talent. We are wasting their lives. We are making them die because we feel they are nothing, because we feel we should allow some persons to influence us. And it's just so disheartening that people are dying, and some persons are just selfish from the womb. They are giving it to their leaders because they are puppets of some persons. And I don't
You
know.
can imagine the funniest of it is that about 2 million people died in the last war that happened in Sudan before the the, the
They
last
separated.
war and all those stuff. About 2 million people died. 2 million human beings. 2 million human beings, out of which they might have like 500 rocket developers. They might have 1,000 scientists with unknown invention that the world would never see because their life has been cut short. We're talking about over 500,000 mathematicians, geophysicists, and the likes that would have helped to create one thing or the other. Then you talk about over 500, another 500. Let's even not put 500. Let's just say over another 10,000 souls that would have helped to say, okay, this mineral resources that is coming from Sudan, how can we work on it to create something better for ourselves? How can we work on the gold to make sure that it is more generating in value instead of just exporting the raw gold that is very cheap until when it is processed to command higher value. And I even have a chart here with me that shows the large countries, the countries with the largest number of gold in the world. You'll be shocked to discover that some of these African countries that you are mentioning are not even listed. It is countries that you are asking yourself, where are they getting gold in their country? Those are the people. What my wife is just saying is praising them. We praise people that steal. We praise them Ajibole. Ajibole. So now, what are we trying to say? You are killing the best resources, the human resources. You are killing them and you are being paid to do so because you are compensated, and you are not a foreigner, but you are a foreigner because you are being used as a weapon of man's destruction against your fellow. Two generals fighting over a country, and you are in the capital city destroying the resources of that city. It really shows how powerful Africans cannot think. Look at that statement. How powerful Africans cannot think. And that is why the people with ulterior motive will always freely enter into the continent of Africa, mess up the place,
And as
mess up the people.
as Paul Kagame is not allowing them in Rwanda now, they'll be blackmailing him. He's a dictator. He's there. As all the opposition people, they want to use against him just to get at him, to make sure that progress in Rwanda is still tagged as the cleanest city in Africa or the world now. People they don't want any, they are just all these
No,
people.
they love this kind of
They
news for
they
Africa.
don't like it. Africa is a jungle. Is a Kenika. They don't want anything good to come out of Africa. But let me shock you, the best is coming out of Africa. Whether you like it or not, the best is going to come out of Africa. And we are having a breed of Africans now that are thinking right. It's not just about fighting, but going to work, as in not just work. And we're not just going to be using all our mouth to be saying it. You don't need to know the type of work. But when we're talking about working smart. Yes. So by the time Africans, ó máa yà yín lẹ́nu gan gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́ ẹ̀ ń ro against Africa yẹn, so ẹ̀yin náà wá máa gbọ́ Yorùbá ń bì. And the fact is, I'm speaking my dialect because it's crying out loud. We are joy givers on this channel. We like to express whatever is happening, joking. That's why you're seeing us. But the truth be told, this is so pathetic. This is so painful, whereby you see valuable assets, human assets that you can't create.
And let me even say something. Do you remember when the war in Ukraine started? Even so many African countries were ready to open their border. They were even calling that Ukrainians can come into their country.
That they want to go and fight
But no, that
even
Ukrainians should come into their country. And lo and behold, with this war happening in the city, the capital of Sudan, let me tell you, so many Africans that were trying to escape, especially Nigerians that were trying to. I'm talking of Nigerian students that were trying to escape the war-torn zone. They got to numerous borders, African borders, neighbors, people that are supposed to be the same family, and they were turning our youth. They were turning them back. They were restricting them. They did not grant them access through their borders. And I find that laughable. Because it is just saying this simple fact that we Africans, we do not love ourselves. We hate ourselves so much that even at the brim of war, you are turning youth.
souls.
You are turning them back. So they should go back and die.
You don't know what that soul, what that resource, human resource, what that asset will turn out to be for you. Might be that person that will even save your country. It's all about there is what is called this re-education, this revaluation of our minds as Africans. If we've got to move forward, we have to be reorientated. As in, it's not just about this Western education. We have to educate ourselves about what is the actual resources. And the actual resources, what we're running after, they are not really the resources. Until we begin to put premium price on ourselves and we begin to value ourselves, we begin to love each other, there is no way. So I don't know how you want to lead the people that you don't love. So these two leaders now, if they end up killing if all the Sudanese are dead and the place is full of bones, so maybe they are still going to be leading,
No.
or their Western powers
They'll
will
bring
come
robots.
take over.
They'll bring
I
robots for
don't
them.
know.
No, it's a very simple game. So far, Buan and Dagalo are interested in destroying everything to the extent that they are even attacking their own CBN, their own country's CBN. This thing, they want to just level the whole place. It's a very simple thing. The world is talking about AI now. Maybe they are thinking that this this so-called Western power that are backing each of them separately, giving them ammunitions to kill themselves, maybe they will supply them robots. They will not be president over robots, because it really shows that maybe there is a level, there's some level of fat in the brain of Africans that has blocked proper reasoning from them. Because if we are really the kind of human being that we are supposed to be, we will think twice. This person that is supplying me this weapon to kill my fellow brothers and sisters, about how many millions of people are now migrated, they ran for their life out of Africa, out of Sudan. And shockingly, you are seeing a situation whereby some of them are getting to the border. The neighbors that are supposed to be sympathetic, they are what? Madam Olaomi says here, thanks for this hot topic. Sadly, the heart of man is desperately wicked. Africans, wake up from this deep slumber. This is more than a slumber.
As in, my heart is bleeding as I'm talking, because it's so painful. And that's, you even see it in your everyday life. People are just so full of these wicked vibes. You don't want the other person. You don't rise by pulling down others, and you don't fall by lifting others. It's a win-win situation. You see, whatever you wish others, that's what is your portion. I was teaching my children the other day. I told them, I said, don't ever think of evil towards anybody, because even whether the person is aware of it or not, it's going to backfire. It's a law of it's a natural law. Whatever you think of, they never said even thinking of it. I said yes, even if you've not done it, but the fact that you're ruminating, you're thinking of it, that this one, let her shoes, but let this, is going to come to you, because that's the law of life. So why is it that we can't just dwell together in love? Just how is it that you will want to be killing somebody? I don't know. It's just
It's very complex to phantom out, because it really shows men of low IQ. We always want the worst to happen to their neighbor. Men of low IQ, we don't want to go the extra mile to put a smile on the faces of people that are going through turbulent moments. I still cannot understand why any country in this world, you will see that there is a war somewhere, and these people, they are not coming to stay in your country. They just want to use your country as a safe passage to their own country. And you are asking them that they need to get visa. Wow. So are you trying to say that before war happens in any country, in any particular place, they will announce to them, oh, we are coming to start war, everybody get your visa. If you do not want to stay, if you do not want to witness this war, everybody get your visa so that you can pass through the neighboring countries. It's never possible. But what we are seeing is that fellow African countries are turning the people back. And even reports that I got was that even Egypt, because Nigeria, thanks to our Nigerian government with their funny play, they always play with serious situation before they finally come up and do the rescue. After all these African Nigerian youths, after all the experience trying to escape to one particular border that they were turned back, they finally got to Egyptian border for them to be lifted. Kudos to this, what's it called? To this Airpeace, the owner of Airpeace, that willingly donated his plane to carry Nigerians from Egypt back to Nigeria. But do you know what? Even at the Egyptian border, these youth, these African students that are studying in Sudan that are trying to escape, they went through some level of difficulties, even right there at the Egyptian border. And you are saying you want your continent to be respected amidst the Committee of Nations.
When you don't respect
When you do
it.
not respect, you do that means you do not place value. And one thing, that's why I asked that question: why is it that majority of the time, most of the other African countries, they have this personal vendetta, personal aggravated hatred for Nigerians?
Okay, let's see. Is anyone on the live stream that can just
Is
comment?
painful, please.
Yes,
If you have
yes.
an answer to this, if you have experienced this before, maybe I don't know why some people just have, oh, Malka Bat Israel. Wow. Shalom family watching from the wilds of America. Wow,
Wow.
it's nice having you. Lovely. Oh, so I just want to like ask myself, why is it that it's like people just hate, majority of the people hate majority of Africans hate themselves, but there is this personal hype hatred for Nigerians. And let me tell you, regardless of your experience with some few obnoxious Nigerians that you might have met with, that does not represent the larger percentage of the people of Nigeria. And that can only be experienced when you come out of your shell, pick up your next travel ticket, come down to Nigeria, and see how you'll be treated. Because Nigerians, I think Nigerians are more receptive to visitors. When they see you as a visitor, they even treat you better than their fellow Nigerians. But I don't see, I'm sorry to say, I might be wrong, but based on what I've seen so far, I'm sorry to say, there is this beef for Nigerians. Is it because Nigerians behave like the Americans of Africa? Because Nigerians are loud
Very
to
loud.
some extent. They can hyperdo. So please just give us the comments. Place your comments here. Let's know. Is it because there is this level of what I call it, exposure or confidence that other Africans do not have, or reservations? Oh, lovely, Madam Claudia. Nice having you here. Please, you can join us. Anyone that wants to join us live can join us through this link. The link is open for people to join. So I don't seem to understand, because is somehow very, very painful.
So I want to think the way forward. That's what you should think of now. We've already known that man is desperately wicked, and this hatred already exists within the
Powerful.
African between Africans, and I think the slave masters are the ones that have already implanted this, because they know their main tool is divide and rule. Because this Africa now, look at this my country that I love so much, Rwanda. They are just how many millions? They are not even up to how many percentage of Lagos. Look at other African countries. Ghana is how many millions? They just segregated us and separated us because they knew that if they were to leave us as United States of Africa, just like America is, we have conquered the world. So they've already implanted that hatred in us, and they are thriving with it. But can we just have a suggestion on how we can really penetrate? I think that was what Kagame did in Rwanda. They had a reorientation when it came to me, because the Hutsis and the Tutsis, that was how they divided them. They even drew them, they gave them pictorial representation of each other, that they should be fighting and all that. So when he came, he had this reorientation. The people were taught, because before you can move forward, it all starts from the mind. It's not just something that you just feel you just go forward like that and we'll develop if our minds have not been developed the right way. So I think we need this
mental reorientation.
reorientation, that when you see a fellow African, you have to value that person. It has to be across board in all African nations, and those in diaspora could also start it as a, there should be this bonding. I think that is just the core now, because if there is this love, I don't think these two generals will just wake up one day and begin to slice human beings, creatures that they can't make. We're not talking about robots here. We're talking about people that have flesh and blood. They have destinies to fulfill that God has made to do things on earth, but they are just wasting them. So I want to feel, is there a way, and it's all starting from myself to you, a family, just like I try to inculcate it into my own children, into the, yes, we had something with, I don't want to say with somebody. So my husband was actually telling me of this particular tribe, that there's this type of hatred in children. Even while children were just playing, a child could take a very big metal and want to throw it at the other one. So I think there
It
should,
starts from the little age, from the younger age and the likes. I think there should be a way, a program designed to flush out the mind of people of Africa from hating themselves, from trying to compete with themselves.
that is just
Because
it. Trying to feel, for me to rise, I have
I
to
need
brew down
below
the
you.
other person. I
Ah.
think that's just the mentality here in Africa, especially because of the corruption in the system. So there are some persons that will feel you can't be right. It's always wrong. You have to do the wrong to get to the top. So if there are rights on your way, you have to pull the rights away and do the wrong. And it's like,
And please let me quickly chip this in. You people of Africa should not make the mistake of trying to um, let another war happen in Rwanda.
which you people of Africa,
You people,
it's we are
myself
there.
inclusive, we people
We
of
Africans.
Africa, we should not allow anybody paint the Rwanda president
Paul Kagame
Paul Kagame
as a
as a
dictator.
dictator for us, because we have already seen that majority of all this copy paste system of government that we are borrowing
And
from
was
all
democracy.
these foreign countries, they are actually alien culture to us, and they are not giving us the right result, because at the end of the day,
It's not working.
It's not working. It's just a fallacious statement of democracy. Is actually a demonstration
Just
of
changing
craze,
them for 4
because
years.
you even find out that it's not that you're even changing anything. Over here, they've so mastered the craft that they are just imposing their puppet on us, and with that they are happy, because why should our president to be why should the president to be in Africa always have to travel to go and see some so-called workers before they get into the system? That means there might be some transactions that we do not know that is happening on our behalf. So it's high time people rose up African people rose up to make sure that they are the one dictating the way they are going. Look at it now, a war that does not concern us. They are trying to bring this in on us. We should have consulted the people of Ukraine to really ask them in their truest mindset what they are passing through now, what they would have done if they had known that this is how their country would have been turned to a war zone, and the countries that are making mouth that they will be there for them, singing, I'll be there for you. They're actually the ones that are saying,
Sorry, we
Sorry,
are not there for you.
we are not there. It's a very painful one, and as much as painful, we just thought we should bring this discussion up so that we look at it, we caution ourselves as Africans. We need to love ourselves, because look at part of the hatred we have in Africa, to the extent that it is easier for you to transact, to pay to pay for goods and services between Africa, your own African country, to the West, it is easier for you to do that, to transact business from, for example, any African country and the United States and the UK, than for you to even do business transaction with Ghana that is close to us here. This
And the leaders or the rulers are not saying anything.
They're not seeing anything in it.
As in, is it logical? Is it logical?
The other day, somebody wanted to buy something from us, from a neighboring African country. It was tug of war. It was tug of war. At the end of the day, that transaction couldn't hold because the back and forth, the banking systems are not aligning. And these are countries that you can jump on the bus and get there. Whereas for you to do a transaction with one Atlantic Ocean country, very far away there, it is very easy. You have different payment gateway that are making it easy, but within Africa,
making it easy for the
I'm talking of comparison wise.
Yes.
I'm talking of
and
comparison.
The easiness is that the money can go from Africa to their own countries.
Yes.
But when it comes to that, any
Their
volume
money,
of money leaving their own economy to Africa,
they usually look at Nigeria, Africa, as a place where coins should be coming to. They don't want bulk money to come in.
$30,
but if it is huge money, you'll be sweat. But at least something is still coming. But I'm talking of African countries. You can't easily transact with fellow African countries, and that is part of the trade.
I now see why people like Elon Musk will make it. He has passion for humans. He wants the world to be a better place for human with the use of technology. He wants us to be multi-planet species. Okay. So that's why he's creating his rocket to Mars. So even while their first launch failed, they did not even term it failure. Like they just saw that it's like a display fault that they were very happy. And if you see their team, very highly united, working together, happy. Elon Musk is somebody that has it's not failure because they just learned that this is not how to do it.
Yeah.
What of the person that invented electricity? He learned how many times? He said he learned 1,001 times of this is not how to do it, then this is how to do it. So we quickly conclude on failure here in Africa. You are never a failure until you admit until you've said that you failed. It's only the day you say that you have failed, because I'm not going to feel that you are actually a failure. But so far you keep trying. You've learned 1,000,001 ways of not doing this. So that's why Elon Musk wants the world to be we humans to be multi-planet species. And that if there is war in the world now and the earth is destroyed, we can just travel to Mars once you have the money. Other people.
This my wife is saying so many things at the same time. Okay, now since Elon Musk is now your new lover and is marketing different planets to you, so which of the planets would you like to travel to in case all this our Belekwa rulers decide to use Nigeria and not Nigeria?
I'm going to Google it.
Which
I'm
planet
going to
will you go to?
Maybe it's Mars or Jupiter.
Okay, if you go to Mars, I'll go to English. Because I might not like Mars because they might not be selling agbado.
And Kitty and what? These people are wicked. So, they will just want to, how you see them is they want to get everything for themselves. And they don't know that no matter how in the next, there's this thing that in the next 150 years we are all gone. Yes, and you're taking nothing out of this world. I think people don't really think of that.
Anyway,
if they actually do that.
Because we are wrapping up this discussion, I just want to let you know that we do not have control over the government, but we have control over our own self. So for us to change the whole world, let's try to change ourselves. Let's brighten the corner that we are. Let's try our own efforts. So as a family on this channel, we have our families scattered across different parts of the world. We usually come
Yeah, the
together.
Cetros
The
family
Cetros family.
has formed the
We
Cetros
usually come
Foundation.
together to we came together to set up the Cetros Foundation. Is a foundation used to help the less privileged. You can check it out, Cetros Foundation. You can check out our website to see what we do there at the Cetros Foundation. And let me just give you a little brief on this. The Cetros Foundation um, is a foundation set up to help the less privileged youth.
Indigent but diligent
Good.
African youth.
Okay.
So we always make it clear, because in the process of doing this, the youth that the puppets, there are systems, there are cultures in humans that, if not well trained or well tamed, once they get to the top, they'll start exhibiting those traits or characters. So what we ensure at our foundation is that you have to be an indigent youth for us to help you, but you have to be diligent, and the core values of integrity and honesty must be in you. Once we find that you lack such, you can't be here, because you can be used by the puppet. That's why we have this problem right now in the world, that some persons will be there, they don't consider others. If you see that you're just there, you don't have a mind for others, you are not. So it's not just that we are just picking any dick and Harry, and that's why it's like, what is it taking? We are looking out for those youths that are really indigent, they don't have any means, but they are diligent and they have hearts for others. They are the ones that will be able to change the Africa we are looking for, that will really affect the change in Africa that we're
So
looking
regardless
for.
of the country you are, so
Yes.
far you know any youth in any part of the African community, African country that needs support, they want to learn a skill, they want or a skill or a craft, kindly reach out to us or send such youth to us via any of our social media link or through our website. You can reach us through our website, or you can also reach us through our WhatsApp number 234-8179591789. You can reach us on those WhatsApp. You can reach us on this WhatsApp number um, to for us to get in touch with any of
Such
those
youths.
youths that are indigent
But
but they are diligent, so that we can help train them for free. And
and the
what's it called?
extent, the other thing we do is, we just don't train them. We know there are various empowerment program. Like,
Yeah.
this is a passion. Over the week, myself and my husband were just reiterating and talking about where we started from. It's a passion. Ever before we met ourselves as a couple, while we were in the school, in the university, we started doing different things for our youth, our community. So it's something we're called into, like grooming youth to excellence. So it's not just that we train them on a craft. No, we look after them until they succeed. And looking after them until they succeed entails we establish them in that their chosen craft. We have some one or two. We have some success stories. Those that have been on the slum right now, they are established, even married. We have some that have even gone out of Africa, gone out of Nigeria, that we've empowered, and they are elsewhere in other African countries. So we're not just after just giving them crafts. We are after establishing this youth. And if you have this passion, please, you can join us on the train.
Yeah.
We are really looking for people. It's not what a family can do, and that is how we can stop this war in Sudan and everywhere. So we are looking for people, and we want to say a very big thank you, a shout out to all on this live stream. Majority of people that are watching us now, they are our founding members, people that are really supporting us on this work. Is not an easy work. We just have to tell you, it's not an easy work if you don't have any help. So there are people that have been helping us, reaching out to us, supporting us, asking after the youth, taking care of the foundation, taking care of us. And we want to say we are not taking you for granted. We are so grateful. God bless you. So if you want to join the trend, you can just reach out to us. It may be that you have a craft you want to teach the youth. It may be that you have maybe anything you want to give out, anything, or it may be that you know someone, you just want to tell someone about this foundation. We'll be so glad you're doing it. So I want to say thank you very much to everyone that's helped us thus far. So that was what I said.
So you can check out our website to see what we do, Citrus Foundation. And if you are convinced that you want to support the foundation's efforts, you can log on to our GoFundMe link to see how you can support us. $1, $2, any amount of dollar that you have, $1,000, $5,000, any amount, even cent, is going to go a long way to help us assist this youth. Then from Madam Claudia, she says, we need to know the wicked world power. Who is controlling the world economy? Madam Claudia, in Yoruba, they say,
we played the video to you. At least we're not the one that made that video. That person actually said.
You know, some of these things are funny because the whole world is knowing any toguru, any guruku. The whole world is knowing the wicked ones, but the question now is, who will now tell them? So the best we can do is to plan our house, put our house in order, reorganize ourselves, reorientate ourselves, redevelop our youth, recommunicate the best language that our youths need to use in their self-development so that they can turn out to be the best in life. Lobaton. Okay. Now, Madam Claudia says, we'll contact the Citrus tomorrow. Wow, lovely. Thank you so very much. We can't wait to hear from you tomorrow. So with all this being said, we want to say thank you so very much because by the look of the time is about 9 minutes to 12 a.m. in Nigeria. And we just want to have a quick one today because as you can see,
there is no light.
There is no light. That's one beautiful thing in Africa. When you live in Africa, you understand what it takes to go to hell.
No. So let me tell you.
When you live in Africa, you understand what it takes to go to hell. You understand better. Those of you that are outside in all these countries, there is constant light. You don't know that hell is a place that there is no light there.
No, apart
here
from
in
light.
Africa, you have to provide your own light because it might not be consistently consistent. And
but let me tell you something.
But Africa is rich enough. Is because of the work of this puppet that is creating problems. So if you have access to funds, you can generate your light, can generate your everything. But we are opportune to have a solar system in place. But for weeks now, there has not been light
at all.
And it is raining. So the solar could not gather enough power to power the place. So it's now becoming solotia. So we have to gather fuel. We have to gather money to buy fuel so that we can have this. So in order to be very, very cautious of cutting the cost while we have so many youths that are still waiting on us, waiting for support, we need to go now.
But on a more general note, Nigeria is a place to be. I listened to a white woman's confession of Nigeria that people should just stop saying Nigeria is bad, Nigeria is bad. She said when she came to Nigeria, she discovered her purpose, or maybe she was able to fulfill her purpose in life. And when she got to Lekki, when people were saying, is this jungle? Africa is the future of the world. Africa is a place to be. No matter how bad they try to paint Nigeria or Africa, I want to say it that we are going to still take over and we are going to get there. And we don't need to come and say how we're going to get there, but as we
have learned, we are not going to be telling you the whole no. You will see and you will say, oh, this is it. So with that being said, we want to tell you that at Law, the meaning of that is we are going.
I will be teaching.
On this channel, we'll be using style to teach you what we call Yoruba, the language of the heavenlies. Somebody's in love with me. Say, yeah, yeah. So with that being said, we need to go. We need to go now. And just as usual, I would like her to give me a peck.
Peck.
Hey, it's shocking. Okay, good night, Madam Claudia. Bye bye. Good night, everyone. So see you next week, Sunday, same time.
Madam, allow me say
11.
something.
Oh, Madam Olabi says, thank you. Put your house in order. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Bam. That is it. You're not putting bam, back down. Somebody has spoken. Hot babe. She will explain herself. That her picture that she went to the beach, she's looking so red, so hot, so hot. So, madam, let me hug you. Oh, sorry.
What?
Before my wife slaps me. And I'm tripping for you. Okay, good night, man.